Assalamu alaykum. Welcome to the Learn Quranic Arabic channel. Today, we're starting a very special journey together, an explanation of the Matn Al-Ajrumiyyah. And our goal, inshallah, is to understand this text so well that one day you could even earn an ijaza, a license to teach. We're going to explore a text that's nearly 700 years old, and yet it's still one of the most essential keys for unlocking the entire grammar of the Arabic language. It's a short, absolutely brilliant masterpiece that has been the foundation for scholars for centuries, and today we're going to understand exactly why. To really understand the importance of this little book, we have to first feel the importance of the language it teaches. Let's just take a moment to anchor ourselves in our purpose. Why are we learning this language? Because as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in His book, the Quran is the vessel of His divine revelation. It's a mercy and it is a shifa, a deep, profound healing for the hearts of all those who believe. As Islam grew beyond the Arabian Peninsula, the risk of misunderstanding the Quran also grew. For the first Muslims, they understood the subtleties of the language naturally. It was their mother tongue. But for the new Muslims, the Persians, the Africans, the Europeans, as Islam spread, so many new converts began speaking Arabic, and naturally, local dialects, little errors, they started to creep in. And this was a huge danger. A single grammatical mistake could corrupt the meaning of a verse completely. Recognizing this, the fourth caliph, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he took a historic step. He commanded that the rules of the language be written down to preserve the pure, pristine tongue of the revelation for all generations to come. A formal science was needed. Not just needed, it was necessary to protect the divine message and to make sure everyone could understand its precise meaning. And this solution, it has a name. It is Nahu. An-Nahu. This is Arabic grammar, but it is so much more than just learning words. It's a very deep science that lets you take apart a sentence and understand its meaning perfectly. Nahu gives you the rules for how words change their endings. This is called i'rab, and this tells you if a word is the doer of the action or the one the action is done to. It is the operating system of the entire language. But one small book stood out as the perfect place to start, and this brings us to the hero of our story, a Moroccan scholar of African heritage, and the timeless, pocket-sized guide that he created for all of us. Ibn Ajrum. He was born in Fez in Morocco in the 13th century. He was from the Sinhaja Berbers, a very well-known people from North and West Africa. You know, his name itself, it tells you a story. Ibn Ajrum, in his own language, the Berber language, means son of the poor Sufi. This tells us he came from a spiritual background, a humble background, not from wealth or power. And though he only lived to be 50, he left behind a gift that would last for centuries. And the story of how the book was created, subhanAllah, it's just as powerful as the book itself. The tradition says he wrote it in Mecca while facing the Kaaba. And to test his own intention, his own sincerity, they say he threw the manuscript into the sea. And he prayed, if this work was purely for Allah, it will not get wet. And the story goes, the book, it stayed completely dry. And it's this protective spirit that brings us right to our text. The author, the brilliant Moroccan scholar Ibn Ajrum, he starts at the very, very beginning. Before you can even analyze a sentence, you have to ask a more basic question. What is a sentence? What makes speech meaningful? And in Arabic, this whole concept is known as al-kalam.
And he begins with this single, perfect line. It is so full of meaning. Let's read it together, slowly so you can feel the weight of each word. Al-kalamu huwa al-lafdul murakkabul mufidu bil-wad'. It's amazing, really, to think that the entire science of grammar is right there, like a seed, inside this one definition.
So what does that beautiful line actually mean? Well, this table breaks it down for us. It's like a 4-part checklist. For something to be considered real kalam, it has to be, number 1, al-lafd, an actual sound that you utter, not just a thought in your head. 2, it must be al-murakkab, compounded, so the word house by itself, not kalam. But the house is big? Yes, that is. 3, it must be al-mufid, beneficial. It has to give a complete meaning so the listener understands and isn't left wondering. And finally 4, bil-wad. It must be intentional speech using the known rules of the Arabic language. You have to meet all 4 conditions.
Okay, so if kalam is the complete house,
our meaningful sentence. Then what are the bricks that we use to build it? Ibn Ajrum tells us that every single word in the entire vast Arabic language, every word in the Quran, it falls into one of only 3 categories. Just 3.
The first category is al-ism, the noun. As you can see here, this is a word that has a complete meaning all by itself, but, and this is the key, it is not connected to time. So think of a name like Zaid, or a thing like kitab, a book. The meaning is very clear, but there is no past, present, or future inside the word itself. The second category then is al-fi'l, the verb. Now, just like the ism, it has its own independent meaning. But here is the big difference. A fi'l is always locked into a tense, always. For example, the word daraba. It tells you a meaning, the act of hitting, and it tells you a time, the past. So meaning plus time. And that brings us to our third and final piece of this puzzle, al-harf, the particle. Now this word is different. It doesn't have a meaning on its own. Its whole job is to connect other words to create a new meaning. For example, a word like fi, which can mean in, is completely meaningless by itself. But you connect it to an ism, like in the phrase fil bayt, and suddenly it has a clear purpose, in the house.
And there it is. That's the whole foundation. The ism,
al-fi'l,
and the harf.
The Ajrumiyyah's approach is so different from many ways people learn today. It is very short, concise, written almost like poetry so it's easy to memorize, and it teaches you the principles, the why behind the grammar. It's like someone giving you a master key that can open every single door in a giant library. So many other books, they just hand you one book from the library and say, here, read this. This gives you the key to everything. And its impact, it's just amazing. For over 700 years, this has been the first text. Think about that for a moment. For 7 centuries, from the time of castles and knights all the way to our age of computers and AI, this small book has been the very first step for the student of knowledge. It is what you memorize before you can study anything else because it gives you the tools to understand everything else. Across all the great centers of learning, from the famous libraries of Timbuktu to the scholars of Al-Azhar in Cairo, the Ajrumiyyah was the common starting point. If you wanted to study Islamic law or theology or history, you had to master this little book first. And this foundation, it prepares us perfectly for our next lesson, where our journey is really going to speed up. We will move on in the text to explore the signs of the ism. So the question we're going to answer is this. How can you look at any word in the Quran and know with 100% certainty that it is a noun? We're going to unlock that next, inshallah. If you want to learn more and continue on this journey with us, please watch the following playlists. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for the next part of our lesson. We will continue right where we have left off.